How to win an All West audition. Hi folks, my name is Channing and I am a doctoral student at the University of Memphis, and today I want to talk to you about how you can prepare yourself to win your All West audition. The first thing you need to do is go to www.wtsboa.com. This is the All West Band website, and there you will find the dates, location, and repertoire that you're going to have to perform for your audition. On the website, you can see that the audition process is broken into 3 different sections. One section is for scales, another for repertoire, and finally the last one is for sight reading. These 3 different categories test different abilities in the performer. So we're going to have to prepare for each section of the audition. The first section, or the section for scales, is arguably the most important of the sections and should perhaps have the most time dedicated to preparation. So the website states that you have to know all of your major scales and a chromatic scale. So don't worry about learning your minors, at least not for this audition. It's really important that you know them eventually, but this audition will not require them. So when you're playing a scale, the adjudicator is listening for a couple of things. They're listening for technique. They want to make sure that your fingers are moving in the correct time and the correct place. They're listening for your tone quality. So as a wind player, that usually means they're listening for a consistent air stream. So always add air to get out of trouble. That's the best secret ingredient. And finally, they are listening to make sure that you have put in the preparation. So this is, again, an area to spend a lot of time. So to practice your scales, you're going to want to start with your handy-dandy metronome. Take your metronome and set it to a low level. So in my case, I'm going to start at 60. And then you're going to want to take and play your scale in quarter notes first. So you want to do something like quarter notes, then eighth notes, and then maybe triplet eighth notes and 16th notes. And you want to do this before you ever decide to move on to a higher tempo marking. So let's hear what that sounds like. Then I'm going to try it in eighth notes. Then I'd move on to triplet eighth notes. And then finally I would do 16ths. Eventually, our goal is to get our scales up to 120 beats per minute in a pattern that goes quarter and then 6/8 following. So let's set our metronome to 120. So it would sound like this. We'll do C major just for showing purposes. Always remember that the fastest practice is slow practice. Moving on to repertoire, When you're practicing your repertoire, you want to make sure that you are isolating the difficult sections. If you look at this piece of music, I've placed the difficult sections in brackets. Now that I've identified the spots that are going to be difficult, I'm going to practice just those parts slowly first. So the first section that I'm going to look at is going to be at measure 15. You see where there's a whole bunch of running notes. That's a section that I think might be difficult, so I'm going to practice that slowly. And it probably would be best if I turned my metronome on. So I'm going to set my metronome right now to 42, so quite slow. So this is going to be 1E and 2E and already I realize I have to go back and redo this because I haven't been including I forgot to check my key signature. And so I would continue to do this until I could play that perfectly at least 5 times in a row. Once you've mastered one part, you want to move on to another part and keep doing this until you've got all of them worked up to the same tempo. So I would keep my metronome at 42 and then look at some of the other parts that I've bracketed. Then, once I had them all at 42, I would bump it up a notch and cycle through them again. If you do this just to the difficult parts, you will know the work much better, and when you get there, you will not be as anxious as you normally feel. So always practice your trouble spots first, and then eventually, once you feel comfortable with them, go and put them in context. So start by playing the last line of music, and then add a line so that you're playing the last second and the second last and the last line. So you want to do that so that you're used to playing these difficult passages in context. Finally, another tool that you can use is listening to recordings. Now, it would be great if you can find a recording of the work that you're actually working on, but if you can't, just listen to great clarinetists. Find recordings that you enjoy. Use YouTube as much as you can. Listen to people like Richard Stoltzman or James Campbell or Martin Frost does some really interesting things. Anything that interests you, listen to good players, and that will help your playing. Our last section that you want to prepare for is sight reading. When you're sight reading, you want to remember that you want to play everything that you can get your hands on. You also want to clap and count before you get started, and you want to sing in ghost finger. So to practice your sight reading, you want to take any text. I found this is the Elementary Method by Rubank. Now, I'm going to open this up to a set of exercises that they have in the key of E flat. The reason that I'm choosing this is because that is the same key of the work that I was just playing. So it's good for me to practice working in that key. You obviously want to try and practice in multiple keys, but do remember that your adjudicators are not going to give you anything that is not sight readable. So the first thing that you want to do once you set this up is you want to clap and count through the rhythms. So I'm going to start with number 2. And it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it just continues in that fashion. So it's going through a pattern. So then what I would do is I would try to sing it. I'd maybe play my first pitch. So that's my E flat. La. And then I would sing in ghost finger. La 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 la. And I would do that as best as I can. If you find this to be challenging or you're scared to sing aloud, try and just sing it in your head. Then finally, now that I've done those things, I'm prepared to actually try and play it. So I would do that with multiple exercises and try and do that for at least 10 minutes a day. This is going, and when I say do this for 10 minutes a day, I don't mean come back to the same study and do it. You would cycle through and move on to another work. The last thing that you want to do is prepare to perform. In preparing to perform, what you want to do is begin by playing things that you know well for people that you trust. So this could be a parent, a sibling, or maybe your best friend. And so just take your works, and it doesn't have to be something that's near and dear to your heart. It can be something maybe that you don't care so much about, or something that you know very, very well. Either way, you want to set yourself up so that you're not going to be so nervous. So ask somebody that you trust is going to be honest with you and is going to be kind with you. This is very important. So when you ask that person, after you ask that person and you have one positive experience, go and ask another. So if it was your brother that you asked first, then maybe ask your mom. And then your best friend. And you want to continue doing this until you're comfortable playing a work for somebody. After you're comfortable, eventually you can branch out and start playing for people that you don't know as well. Take it and play it for your band director. Because they know music so well, they're likely to make you more nervous. Or just set up and play in the hallway. If you play in a public space, then just anybody can approach you, and if you're ready for anybody to approach you, you're ready for anything. This is my favorite critic. She's a terrible critic. She hates everything I do. Well, at least with the clarinet. Isn't that right, Mima? Well, thanks for watching, and happy practicing, and best of luck. Good luck. If you're interested, you can always try to take music lessons with different people around town. Contact the local symphony or any of the universities. They should be able to hook you up with a qualified music teacher if you're interested. So once again, thanks for watching and good luck.